안녕하세요. 매일매일 운동하기를 실천하고 있는 동탄 왕코입니다. 진짜 너무 졸려가지고 지금 샤워하고 나왔어요. 퇴근하고 샤워하고 운동을 하려고 왔습니다. 너무 졸려가지고 자고 일어나서 하려고 했는데 못할 것 같아요, 인간적으로. 그래서 지금 최대한 씻고 나왔는데도 졸리네요. 일단 운동이 너무 하기 싫습니다. 제주도 갔다 오고 나서 잠깐 열심히 했어요. 정말 한 일주일 정도는 정말 미친듯이 한 것 같아요. 근데 이제 야간 근무해서 그런가 너무 졸립니다. 지금 퇴근하고 오면은 멍해요. 그래도 운동을 해야겠죠. 코로나가 줄지도 않고 100명 밑으로 떨어질 줄 알았거든요. 오늘이 수요일이죠. 오늘 수, 목, 금, 토 4일 동안 지켜봐야 되는데 이러다 2.5단계를 다음 주까지도 연장을 할 수도 있을 것 같아요. 그리고 어저께 미국장 주식 엄청 떨어졌죠. 테슬라 20% 빠졌다는데 총 40% 저번 주부터. 장난 아닙니다, 여러분. 기다리세요. 다시 오를 겁니다. 일단은 오늘 원래 스쿼트 하려는데 어저께 제가 운동 정말 조금밖에 안 했잖아요. 근데 일어나고 출근하기 전에 스쿼트 한 30개 했어요. 못 믿으시겠지만 일단 오늘 팔굽혀펴기 위주로 최대한 해보도록 하겠습니다. 역시 운동할 땐 CNN.
Areas of Japan, Korean Peninsula, which has seen too much rainfall, but now the heavy rain looks to really be pretty much concentrated in central and southern areas of China. There will be more rain for Japan. After our typhoon moved into areas of the Korean Peninsula, the air was sinking, creating incredible warmth in Japan. Many areas in the mid, even upper 30s for temperatures, but rain is in the forecast. You see there from Tokyo, still warm at 33, but Osaka into the good rainfall. Unfortunate rain for Seoul. Beijing at 31 degrees will cool down to even below level averages. Again, you'll see 25, 26 under fair skies. Bangkok looks good, although warm. Thunderstorms in Ho Chi Minh City over toward Manila as well. Unfortunate, more heavy monsoon rains from Mumbai, which has been inundated.
세계의 날씨를 보고 있으면 와 진짜 동남아 저쪽 너무 놀러 가고 싶어요 진짜.
Continues in areas of Nepal and mainly areas of
베트남 여행도 가고 싶고
in areas of Bangladesh and northeastern India. Adelaide looking at a
베트남도
pleasant day.
가보고
Rain continues in Sydney.
싶고 방콕도 가고
Fall
싶고.
across the South Island of New Zealand in the days ahead, but more rain for
진짜 지금은 여행을 안 가서 돈을 많이 아끼고 있지만
인간은 제일 먼저 의존하는 게 시각인데 시각이 차단된 상태에서 영상 카메라를 사용함으로써 제3의 눈이 되죠.
빨리 코로나가 끝났으면 좋겠습니다.
무겁습니다. 이렇게 만들고 앞으로 소방 장비가 더 많이 개발이 되어서 이그니스 열화상 카메라처럼 더 많은 사람들을 구할 수 있는 그런 기술 개발이 더 많아졌으면 좋겠습니다.
This is CNN. More people get their news from CNN than any other news source. School is back in session.
Good morning, everybody.
Take a trip to Sesame Street with CNN.
Let's get it.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta and Erica Hill meet up with Big Bird and the Sesame Street crew to answer all your questions on health and safety in school and making the digital classroom work for everyone, including parents.
Bye-bye.
The ABCs of Back to School, a CNN Sesame Street Town Hall for Families. Saturday on CNN.
A mask can say a lot about the person who wears it, but even more about the person who doesn't.
It can keep you in bed all day or force you to stop and catch your breath after the simplest of tasks. And doctors say some patients experience the symptoms of these conditions even after fighting off COVID-19. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 35% of the people in a monitored group recovering from COVID reported they were continually dealing with fatigue.
So short of breath, coughing, just the fatigue and dizziness, headaches almost daily.
Less than
진짜
a year
몸이
into
너무
the
무겁다.
novel coronavirus pandemic, experts admit they're still worried
하자.
about the effects of the
하자.
virus both physically
운동하자.
and mentally. U.S. researchers plan to study more COVID patients to determine whether there's a link between the virus and chronic conditions like CFS.
The president at his rally in North Carolina moments ago sowing doubt about the election results, saying, quote, gotta be careful with those ballots, watch those ballots. This as President Trump's former personal attorney and self-described fixer, currently in home confinement for tax evasion, lying to Congress and other crimes, is offering a stark warning about his former boss, just 8 weeks before Election Day.
Donald Trump will do anything and everything within which to win. And I believe that includes manipulating the ballots. I believe that he would even go so far as to start a war in order to prevent himself from being removed from office.
Pretty incredible accusations, and they come amid growing concern that Trump may not leave office if he loses in November. Pamela Brown is out front.
Tonight, the final sprint to Election Day is on. But this year, it's not just campaigning that looks different. Already, the incumbent in the White House is laying the groundwork almost daily for chaos, even encouraging voting twice, which is illegal.
So, let them send it in and let them go vote. And if their system's as good as they say it is, then obviously they won't be able to vote.
That prompted strong resistance from even Republican election officials.
Don't test our boards of elections. They're good at this. Go ahead and submit your ballot once.
On Monday, Trump once again railed on mail-in ballots.
Just sending 80 million ballots all over the country. 80 million ballots, none requested.
Trump is referring to the 9 states plus Washington, D.C. that will soon be mailing out ballots to every registered voter. A change this year in some places in response to the pandemic. The president is undermining mail-in ballot voting in states where it could hurt him and encouraging it in states where it could help him. Earlier this year, he admitted why.
The things they had in there were crazy. They had things, levels of voting that if you ever agreed to it, you'd never have a Republican elected in this country again.
While the president and his allies claim without evidence the increase in mail ballots will lead to widespread voter fraud, there is evidence of widespread rejection of mail-in ballots because of human error. In this year's primary, more than 500,000 ballots were reportedly thrown out for simple mistakes, such as signatures not matching the state's records, a missing signature, envelope problems, and ballots arriving after the deadline.
You have to go through a process to verify that the ballot is legitimate. And of course, human beings being human sometimes make mistakes.
Election experts say one likely scenario is what is known as the blue shift, with Trump ahead winning on election night in the rural states where he has more supporters, and Biden pulling in front, winning after election night through mail-in ballots. Counting of those ballots don't begin in key battleground states of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania until Election Day.
Barack Obama, 47 years old, Donald Trump wins the presidency.
Meaning a declared winner on election night is highly unlikely.
In some swing states, Trump is plus 40 among voters who plan on voting on election day, whose votes will be counted election night, and minus 60 among voters who are planning on voting absentee or by mail.
The Transition Integrity Center, who has played out these scenarios in mock elections, says if the election count is close, every scenario it is gamed out shows a political crisis and street violence will ensue.
You have two totally different narratives being promoted by different media ecosystems, and people are living with really different factual understandings of what took place on election day.
And
course, Aaron, Election Day is on November 3rd, but in North Carolina, you can already vote by mail. Early voting starts very soon in several key states like Pennsylvania. And election experts say, just as you would plan ahead to go to the grocery store during a pandemic, you should also plan ahead to vote. And they say if you are voting by mail, read those instructions carefully to make sure your ballot counts.
Aaron. All right, Pamela, thank you so much. And I want to bring in now the chair of the House Oversight and Reform Committee, Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney. Chairwoman, I really appreciate your time. So, we just heard Pamela Brown laying out these election scenarios, and that group basically saying that, every single outcome here, because it's going to take a while to count, could end up with street violence, and you don't get a declared winner on election night, and you have all kinds of ballots rejected due to error, never mind fraud. Do you think any of this or all of this is likely to happen?
Well, you have to be prepared for everything. So you have to be prepared. You can start by passing my bill that passed the House and the Senate that would fully fund the post office so that they can perform their duty. And it would also stop the harmful steps that Postmaster General DeJoy took to literally slow down the mail. So you can, and a number of states have taken steps to reform or make their processes more clear. The best way is to vote as soon as you possibly can. If it's going to be a mail-in ballot, there are many predicting that 75% of our population, due to the coronavirus, will be voting absentee. Vote early to make sure that post office has time to stamp it and process it and get it to the Board of Elections to be counted.
All right, so you mentioned the post office and the Postmaster General, and your committee now, I know, Chairwoman, is launching an investigation into Louis DeJoy.
너무 운동하기 싫어가지고 시간 끌고 있습니다. 근데 스트레칭 중요하죠, 여러분. 지금 스트레칭만 해도 땀나요. 진짜 여러분 집에서 스트레칭이라도 하셔야 됩니다. 이거라도 안 하면은 뭐 살 찌는 거지 계속. 먹는 족족 그냥 살이 되는 거죠. 근데 어쨌든 다이어트 할 때는 식단 관리가 가장 중요하고, 근데 그 식단 관리에 운동까지 하면은 금상첨화. 금상첨화 진짜 오랜만에 쓰는 말이다.
Do you have any question at this point as to whether he did anything wrong?
Well, that's the purpose of our subpoena.
더 지금 이렇게 자세 유지하고 있는데 더 땀나. 에어컨 틀어놨는데 지금.
On the delays are due September 16th. These already started.
지금 8시 47분이에요, 아침. 13분 뒤면 주식장이 열립니다. 너무 궁금합니다. 오늘 미국이 오늘 나스닥이 4% 떨어졌나 5% 떨어졌나 그랬는데, 그리고 9시 반쯤 되면은 이제 아닌가? 9시 한 40분쯤 넘으면은 확진자 나오죠, 몇 명인지.
It's a way to get around your limits. As you know, we're limited in what we can give in primaries and generals, and it's a way to really give more and make sure
해야 될 게 너무 많습니다. 해야 될 게 너무 많아.
It's illegal.
24시간이 모자라요.
Investigation on that, and we've started that.
So when you say, it's a felony,
분리수거도 버려야
and I
돼.
get your point. This should have been known before. It should have come up in vetting, and it's your job to find out what happened, right? It's a felony.
분리수거도 버리러 가야
But when the White House
돼요.
Chief of Staff today, Mark Meadows, was asked about your investigation into DeJoy, here's what he said.
Never underestimate Congress's ability to ratchet up an investigation 60 days out from a presidential election.
So he's saying you're going after the Postmaster General amidst all this ballot stuff 8 weeks before the presidential election. You're the one playing politics. What do you say?
I'd say that the post office should be nonpartisan. It should be bipartisan. It's a pillar of our democracy. It's enshrined in our Constitution.
너무 졸려요.
And he's the one who started the political acts by slowing down the delivery of mail intentionally. We know that from internal documents that we received during our investigation. And my legislation stopped it, and we're in the process of reversing it and making sure that people get their medications in the mail that they rely on. So if there's been any politics, I would say appointing a postmaster general whose qualification is a mega donor to President Trump and the Republican Party. He's held major positions in fundraising responsibility.
폼롤러 한 번만 더 하고 오늘 여기까지만 하겠습니다. 이제 이틀만 더 출근하면 돼요. 오늘 밤, 내일 밤, 그럼 야간 출근 끝입니다 이제. 쉴 때 운동 많이 할게요.
Partisan postmaster general, and there's also an IG investigation taking place now on conflicts of interest in his financial dealings, investing in the competitors to the post office. Historically, they've always supported the post office. So I'd say, and I would add, I've introduced a bill to bring politics out of the postmaster general's appointment. Should be someone who serves everyone, regardless of party. Should be about politics, and it's just.
Congresswoman, I appreciate your time. Chairwoman Maloney, thank you so much. And next, a black man goes out for a jog to exercise.
못해.
Because they say he fits the description of a burglar. They were wrong, and they ended up offering him a job.